movie. I was a little bummed when she kind of went full supervillain.
Yes,
But I mean,
that's
the problem is, man, like it's a Marvel movie. I'm sorry, but this can't be like Glass, where M. Night Shyamalan's like, nah, like you need to bang him up, CGI, smack him up, throw him
it's got to be a
around, punch him down. Oh my God, it's
Mhm.
Tommy Lee Jones. Man, I tried to do it, Tommy Lee Jones, I couldn't do it. But it's you need that, and so I was like, but I just still
This,
like seeing her anyway.
what what you're mentioning is a theme that comes up a lot in the MCU and these TV shows. To be honest with you, that actually, yeah, the bad guy's got a really strong point.
Yeah.
You know,
Wasn't she just
actually,
there, Norbert? Like, wasn't she?
exactly, exactly. She just happened to be in the town. You know, she just happened to be.
Imagine that, Norbert. Like you lose your sister, you lose the love of your life, Norbert, and you just go take over an entire town, but there's just like an ancient evil deity there, or an ancient deity there that's just messing with you. It's like of
Yeah,
all the towns in all of America, I had to pick the town with an evil person,
an
you know?
evil witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so happens that Agatha's bag is to steal the magic and energy of those creatures more powerful that exist around her. Thanks for taking over Westview, buddy. Yeah, good job.
Well, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, there it is. All right, all right, all right. Yeah,
All
it's really
right.
dark, really dark.
Oh, dude, I love that song. So that was going to be one of my
It
awards, but
flies.
I'm going to go with my second award is when Darcy Lewis, who I would just put Kat Dennings in everything because, in the first two Thor, like in Thor: The Dark World, it's a movie
Yeah,
that, what's interesting about Thor: The Dark World? I watch it and I don't really enjoy it, but I think about it and I'm like, it's not that bad. And then I watch
uh,
it and I go, yeah, this isn't that good. And then later on, I'm like, this is not that bad. So I had
mm,
to watch it again for research for the Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong podcast, and I watched it again. I'm like, oh man, this might be good. And I was like, no, it's not. But then I started researching it. I'm like, oh, this isn't that bad. It's a long story, but I like Kat
it
Dennings,
is
just the Mew Mew and just her silliness in general. But she's in like 5 seconds of the last episode of WandaVision, and she uses it to
right.
just smash Hayward's car. And she's like, have fun in prison. But like that's her. She's just plugging along in a very slow moving vehicle, and then she smashes the Hayward, who's like one of the most bureaucratic, punk stereotypical villains around,
To
which
be
would
honest, yeah.
actually exist in a real world. Of course he would, but I just love that that's her one. She smashes them. That does have fun. Like it's just a fun. Like she's just putter. She moves at a very slow pace. Everything happens, and then she smashes Hayward's car and tells him to have fun in
You need
prison.
you need that snarky '90s comic relief, and that's who she is. You know, she's a far less annoying version of Rob Schneider and Judge Dredd throughout the whole MCU. Because you remember that Rob
Yeah.
Schneider would just dread, dread, dread
Yeah.
every 30 seconds, and just good God, it's bad enough that they make him take off his mask every 5 minutes, but now we got this guy. I can't. And Armand Asante was so good, you
hmm
know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's
just
just reacting to everything. That he's just,
right,
you know what I mean? Like everything, it's just Schneider reacting to Dread,
right,
judging
right.
things. That's really funny, man, because she's never really out of her league in these movies. Like whenever there's
No, she's
chaos going
brilliant.
around her, she's smooching on her intern. She's just making quips. Calling things Mew
Yeah,
Mew. It's fun to have her presence in here, and so for her just to putter along, smash the car, it was wild. Like everybody who came back into the movie, like I love Randall Park, Kat Dennings, like they're some of my favorite MCU characters. And
right.
then and like after Endgame, watching uh um what Scarlet Witch, I guess her name is Wanda, watching what she did
She's
to
Scarlet. Yeah.
Thanos before Thanos like went full punk ass, like had the
Right.
rain down.
Yes. She's always got this rage in her.
hmm
She was introduced as an Avengers villain initially in the comics. So she's been going back and forth as a good guy, bad guy in the comics for literal decades. One of the last horrific things she did was to depower every mutant in Marvel Comics. She just says, no more mutants. And then the House of M happens and she warps reality in that way. So whereas in WandaVision, she warps the mind of a small town, in the comics, in the House of M, she warps the minds of the planet
Ooh.
and gets rid of all mutant powers. And this lasted for about 10 years. The fact that certain mutants just didn't have powers. They just started to fix that in the last year or so of Marvel Comics. Like, it was a big deal.
That's cool. Hey, did you watch
Yeah, definitely.
Legion? Did you watch Legion on FX?
I watched a bit of it on and off because I was into, what's her name with the eyes?
Plaza?
Audrey.
Yeah.
At Aubrey Plaza. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I watched a bit of it, but I didn't get super into it because it was really weird.
oh, it's like one of my favorite. It might be one of my favorite superhero shows of all time. But David in that show, right?
Mm.
Uh, is it David?
David Haller,
Yeah.
son of Professor X.
Who's more powerful, him or Wanda?
Wanda's got chaos magic. Chaos magic, as you can see, it completely warps reality. She can do what she wants. But Haller has a dissociative personality disorder, except every one of his different personalities has a special power. And he has no real control of it sometimes. He just goes insane. So, I mean, it's a coin toss depending on who's writing the comic. They're both really overpowered characters, man. Absolutely.
All right, Norbert Morvan inks a deal with Marvel, and
Okay.
they give
Can't
you
wait.
a 4-episode run of graphic novels, not like just 20-page comics. So you get like
Okay.
a good run. You get to write 4 graphic novels or 20 comics. I don't care. You pick. It's up to you. You're the writer. Who wins?
I'm the writer. Oh, jeez. The spot continues to be thrown on to Norbert.
I'm dropping some.
I'm gonna
I'm dropping some bombs today.
These are bombs. These are bombs. But I appreciate it. I would have to go with David, because eventually it would literally be a story of which one of them is going to snap first, because they both just snap all the time in comics, you know. But when David snaps, he just completely loses control. You could see from WandaVision that after a while she starts to get it. Around episode 4 or 5, she starts to get that, oh snap, I did this. But at the same time, she's like, I kind of like it here.
Yeah, I'm gonna expand this thing.
Yes, I'm gonna make it bigger. I'm gonna actually keep bringing the Vision back to life because I really, really want him in my life. So she's got more control over her power than David does. So I guess David would have to end up being a winner.
I like it.
Don't at me on this, listeners. Jesus,
All right,
it's a hypothetical.
What's your second award for WandaVision? What do you got?
Okay, the second award for WandaVision is
moment award, whatever they are.
Yeah, well, for me, it's gonna go between awards and moments. That's how I'm gonna do it. You know, let's enjoy ourselves here. Let's not get pigeonholed. So for me, my second award for WandaVision is, hey, I know that guy, Pietro, aka Fake Pietro.
Such trolling.
Oh, that was just, you know what, fans? Here's a giant middle finger to you all, because we're not bringing this guy back. Not at all. We're going to save our speedster for the Eternals, which I can't. But anyway, yeah, Pietro. They bring him back, and comics nerds like me, you know, we want this guy to be back because there's always been a very strange interplay in the comics between Wanda and Pietro. You know, are they just brother and sister? Are they kind of doing, shall we say, things behind our back? You know, you know. He kind of balances her mentally. He kind of talks her down in the comic books. And so it would have been great to see them get to actually bounce off each other, because of the 2 Quicksilvers that we've seen in the comics movies, he's definitely the more interesting one. You know, He's got such a great personality and just kind of a snark that the comic book Quicksilver has. And so when they're just like, oh, sorry, it's Ralph Boner. That's the Ralph that Agatha's been talking about probably the whole series. You're just like, okay, I guess.
Oh, I loved it because so I all the theories that came out, and it kind of, you know what I like? It felt like Marvel daring to do something that would annoy people.
Yes,
if that makes sense. Like their big flagship release was 3 episodes of kind of black and white comedy that turned off a lot of people. They're like, oh, just don't watch those first 3 episodes, even though it's awesome. But then they introduced him, and that went nowhere. I just love that they took some risks, and who knows how many more of these are going to take. But I love that there were some. It felt quite daring, and that's what I liked about it.
It was a serious red herring, man. Absolutely. And you know, as the years have gone by, as the years go by, you know, you read all the stuff on the internet. You know, Marvel, they've gotten control of the Fantastic Four again. Marvel's kind of working with Sony, but they're actually just kind of trying to steal Spider-Man back from Sony. So these characters are always up in the air. Are they going to be in the next movie? Are they going to be in the next movie? Which is how you feel when you're reading the comics. You know, Are these guys going to show up in the next event? Is it actually him and behind the scenes? This is why the general public is having these wild emotional swings, because in the comics, the same thing happens to you. You have all of this history and you know what happened a few issues back. Is that going to bounce back to affect people? Are these guys going to show up? This is what makes comics great, man, and the movies too.
Oh, I love it. Well, hey, we got
Yeah,
one
man.
down. This is good.
Absolutely.
You ready to move
Tiger
on
uppercut.
to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was
Yes,
the
sir.
showrunner by Malcolm Spellman? All right.
Let's go.
You know what? Since I gave the first my favorite moment award last time, I'll let you do. I'll let you start us off with this one.
Okay. All right. And so the award for, like I was saying before, the award for actually, he's kind of right. That's got to go to Baron Zemo. uh, Zemo's entire family is killed in collateral damage
Man.
between the Avengers going to war with Ultron, who Tony Stark created.
Yep.
Oops.
Uh,
Zemo's kind of right.
Yeah.
I have a hard time feeling like Zemo is the worst bad guy because he's not, Nazi racist or anything. He just doesn't want super soldiers to run around and break stuff because that's kind of what they do.
And he goes off and he successfully splinters the Avengers, which is insane and just causes chaos.
Brilliant.
He's part of my favorite moment in the MCU when he is listening to the voicemails left from his wife on his phone, and then he has him and T'Challa have that, where T'Challa doesn't let him die, and the two, even Baron Zemo was like, hey, your dad seemed like a great dude, but I had to get stuff done. But just watching T'Challa, who could have gone down that path that he went, and seeing him, but also understanding him, and then the next movie he's dealing with Killmonger, it was such a good scene though. But the fact that you would let the villain of your movie sit there and listen to voicemails left by his wife, who was killed because of Ultron, which was created because of Tony Stark in their war, it's just
all the feels.
It's like
all the feels.
I remember watching that and just going, man, this is next level. And you're right, man. Seeing him come back in this show and very debonair, very wealthy, having fun, and my award or my favorite moment is just him dancing. I mean, that was a legit meme, man. That was everywhere. They did an hour-long cut of it.
That's right. It feels earned, man. It feels earned because he's they push me too far guy. That's what he is. He's absolutely a murderer. There's no question. Like we were saying with Heat, these guys are murderers. Zemo's a murderer. But Zemo as a murderer versus the Heat thieves as a murderer, Zemo's kind of more in the right.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Zemo goes on this path unless the Avengers and Ultron murder his family as collateral damage.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not. And man,
I don't get that vibe.
And this one dude went in and shook it up. And I was what's funny though with the dancing, I was reading about it. And Daniel Bruhl was saying that, he's like, I felt the beat and was like, Zemo has been sitting in a dodgy German prison cell for years, so he needs to let off some steam and show off his moves. Let's go for it. And he said, he's like, it was so hysterical. He's like, that moment was improvised. When I saw the crowd dancing, going loco, I felt the beat and was like, Zemo has been like, so he's like, I enjoyed the reaction of Anthony and Sebastian. They were just looking at him. And he's like, still, I was 100% sure they would cut it out of the show. I was really surprised and happy that they kept it. He's like, it was a long dance. There was more to it, but they cut this little moment. I didn't know what was happening, but then I received all these messages from my friends cracking up. My friends who know me well know I'm an embarrassing, passionate dancer on the floor, but it would be different moves. It would be my Spanish side of me kicking in and doing some matador flamenco moves, going down on my knees. Highly embarrassing for my friends. So I guess he normally just gets on the dance floor and rips it up, Daniel Bruhl, in real life.
Yes.
And just, what's crazy? Like, this dude who ripped apart the Avengers, killed Black Panther's father. I mean,
that was terrible, yes.
But then him dancing in a club becomes an hour-long cut from Marvel. Like, that's, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Listen, like, Anthony Mackie, wonderfully trained actor. I mean, he went to the best schools. His performance in Solos is excellent. He's been very good in movies. Sebastian Stan,
it's great.
I'm a big fan of his. I think he's good in weirder roles. Like, I like him a lot in Logan Lucky. But I'm telling you, when they were on screen with Daniel Bruhl, it didn't feel fair. Maybe I'm wrong, but like Bruhl, I don't know. I just think he's a step above a lot of actors, and just he's. Am I wrong? Am I like what am I?
Bruhl is a classic supervillain.
Yeah.
He doesn't just monologue all the time. He's not going to tell you what his plan is. He's just going to do it. And then